What's happening, YouTube? Nmap on Android tutorial 4. We're going to go through the program structure and the objectives of the series. Okay, so the objective of the series is to use Python to build a GUI for Nmap, our favorite network scanning tool. Okay, choose which features we would like to use. We're just going to be using a LAN scan, simple host discovery, and we may be putting a port scan in there. Okay, we're going to make it usable and build an Android package. Alright, now the purpose of this is just to build the foundation, a blueprint. Okay, I want you guys to come up with your own ideas, but I'm going to show you the path to follow if you want to build your own Android applications and you want to start using tools like Nmap, TCP dump, and things like that, netcat. Okay, so once complete, you are free to add your own functions, features, blueberries and design, and you can go nuts. So I hope you guys enjoy this series, and let's get started. Alright guys, let's get cracking. First of all, let's just import a few things that we're going to need. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you're going to know what this is. If not, then that's cool as well. Just go back and watch the videos. I do recommend the audio recorder tutorials as well. And we're going to be using Kivy, okay, to be making the Android application. We're importing a couple of layouts here. Alright, a label so that we can display text, a button, so obviously we can use functions, a text input we may be using, we may not be, I haven't decided yet, Kivy.lang.builder so that we can use a Kivy language, and the app. Okay, so let's just get started. Now I've already pre-coded most of the tool, so I'm just going to go through it like so. So we have a canvas, it's going to contain a rectangle. I'm going to supply all of the graphics for this, but obviously you're free to design it the way you want, use it the way you want, and structure it the way you want. You don't have to do it this way, but I'm just here just to show you guys the way that I'm doing it. So we've got a rectangle, we've got a source, we've got an image, which will be the main background. Size equals self.size, and the position equals self.position. So let me just take that, and we can cut and paste. Let's tab that in. Okay, so let me just go through this quickly. This is the main class, okay, which gets called when the main .py gets called, which returns this class here, okay, which is a float layout. Alright, now in the previous videos we've been using the box layout, but I want to make it more dynamic and just change things up a bit. So it's returning this class which we've defined here. Okay, it's got canvas, rectangle, background. Alright, if you've got any questions, just ask in the comments below. So let's carry on. Now the main class is going to contain a box layout. Now this box layout is going to contain a label which is going to contain our network info from an ifconfig call. Okay, so we're going to be connected to the wireless LAN. We're going to call ifconfig, which is a normal Linux call. Alright, and since it's on Android, we can call that just fine. So let's just copy that and paste. Now let's just build that and see what happens. We should have a lovely black screen with the background. Okay, now just to make things a little bit more interesting, what I've done is I've just designed an image. Now I'm loading an image on top of the canvas. Now the reason I'm doing this is because it's got a little animation in it. Okay, it's a bunch of files which gets loaded by Kivy at 30 frames a second. Alright, I've allowed stretch which equals true, and I've just played around with a position which you guys can do on your particular device. Depends on what device obviously you've got. I've got an S4 and a Nexus 7, so you can play around with that, but that should be okay as it is. Size equals self.size, so let's build that and see what happens. And it should have an Android with some flashing eyes, okay, and obviously it's Nmap on Android, right? So let's get rid of that, and instead of carrying on with the scatter layout here, which we're not going to use for now, because this is going to display the targets or the results from the host scan. Okay, so we're just going to place a box layout for now with all the buttons, which contain the functions we're going to be using. Okay, also backgrounds. Now you can globally set this if you'd like for global buttons, but I'm just doing this individually for now, just to see and just to explain to you guys how to do it. Okay, so if we just copy that, we can just come down here and paste that, and just make sure that the indentation is okay. That should be alright. Let me see. Now, see through buttons. Alright, so we've got get network. Obviously it's going to crash now because obviously there's no function. Let's just run that again. Right, so we've got get network, which will run the ifconfig. We've got a -sp, which will scan for hosts. We've got a save scan, which hasn't been defined yet. We've got something else. I might come up with something else, who knows. It's going to be a concoction of functions. So let's get rid of that. Now the next thing to do is, if you've noticed, I have given the label an ID. Okay, this enables us to access it in Python down below there. Alright, and here I've assigned a function called root.getNetwork, which we need to define. Now when this button gets pressed here, it will call ifconfig and display the output to our label network info. Okay, and I'll put a screenshot that's somewhere on the screen right about now of what it will do. And in fact, I could even just run this, although if I undo that cut, it should work. So we're going to have something like this. We run get network, and we're going to have the output in the top left hand corner. Okay, so nice and neat, right? And just as a little preview, let's just run the scan. Okay, and we're going to have something like this. Now it's a scatter layout, so it's touchscreen. So obviously, if you can imagine, this is on your Android mobile device or tablet. You can move this around, and it's a scroll view, so you can scroll it up and down. Alright, press. Now I've assigned a button being pressed here, so every time the button's being called, it can call a function, alright, which we'll figure out later. Now that's it for now. I'm going to leave it to you guys to, first of all, import. If we go back to the code, I want you guys to import the IDs from the widgets themselves, so that we can access them here. Alright, if you'd like to carry on and define the ifconfig function, that's cool as well. Stay tuned for the next tutorial to see how I did it, if you are running into any issues whatsoever. Okay, feel free to obviously design it the way you want as well. The next tutorial is coming very quickly. Alright guys, thanks for watching as always. Keep coding, keep being awesome. See ya.